What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into it. Online dating. Most people create a profile to see who is out there for them, either because they are shy in person, work a lot, and might not be able to get out much, or simply because it's easy and convenient. You can scroll through multiple people until you find your match, but not that often do you hear of an online dating love story. Some people might get lucky because they have that discernment when searching. They don't invite just anybody to their home at first. They meet at a public place, and before they talk on the phone for months. But when you are young, looking to have some fun, most feel like they don't have time for all that. They date online because of the easy access. It's simple. Meet someone they like, chop it up for a little minute, set a day and time to kick it, and see if they can catch a vibe. But the cons can sometimes outweigh the pros. You might just be looking for somebody to get your rocks off with, or you can smash on a regular. But being too fast to meet up can put you in a dangerous situation, as you never know who's behind that screen and what type time they are on. Sometimes cruddy and cutthroat comes with a pretty face or nice body. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to DeKalb County, Georgia, to discuss a case of two brothers planning for a fun night after meeting some females online that took a turn for the worse. Back in 2016, 23-year-old Jordan Collins and his 24-year-old brother Chad were very close and did a lot of things together. Being that close in age, the brothers often kicked it, even double dated sometimes. They both had profiles on the then popular online dating app POF, or Plenty of Fish. And one night while together and scrolling, they noticed a profile of two young women who were friends. 22-year-old Clarissa McGee and Nasheer Poole, also 22. The brothers thought they hit the jackpot. Two pretty girls, same age, and knew how to hold a conversation. They chopped it up with the two young ladies for a few days. And when the brothers' sister went out of town and asked them to babysit their nieces and nephews, that was a perfect time to do what young men do: invite the young ladies over to party. Little did Jordan and Chad know, Nasheer and Clarissa were escorts and also members of a local blood set in Georgia. Nasheer had been rocking with the gang and created the POF account to escort and break bread with the homies. Clarissa was a newbie who joined once she started a relationship with a high-ranking member, 26-year-old Antonio Avery. His big homie was one of the founding members of the blood subset they were in, 28-year-old DeMarco Butler. Usually, the gang made money however they could, getting it how they lived. But the new thing was to find young, naive girls, make them think they was in love with them, in an effort to make them catch dates and bring the bread back. Clarissa and Nasheer usually had no problems, but sometimes if the date had a lot of bread or a nice house, the two men would want more than a few dollars. They wanted to rob them or do a home invasion to clean the house and take the victim for everything. On August 31st, 2016, Clarissa went to DeMarco's house. Antonio and Nasheer was there as well. The girls got ready to meet up with a client at a planned location, but when they got there, they felt uncomfortable and decided to leave without making the money. Once they got back, they met up with Antonio and DeMarco at a local gas station. The two men told them, "We gotta make some bread." The woman told the two that Jordan and Chad had hit them up earlier that day, asking them to come kick it later that night. The girls called the brothers, who stated everything was good for them to come over, and sent the girls the address to their sister's home in Lithonia, Georgia, then put the kids upstairs for bed. Back at the gas station, the four were plotting. The girls gave Antonio and DeMarco a picture of Jordan. Then Antonio gave his girl Clarissa a gun to take with her for extra protection. As they made their mind up, they was going to set the brothers up and rob them and the house. The men told Clarissa and Nasheer We gonna follow y'all in another whip. Y'all go act normal, peep out the scene, and text us and let us know how everything looked. As the woman pulled up to the home the brothers was at, DeMarco and Antonio kept driving through the neighborhood. Happy to see them in person, Chad and Jordan were ready to have a good night. The two women started acting weird though, asking questions about the house, who lived there, roaming around, even trying to go upstairs, until the brothers stopped them. The girls also kept texting and were not engaging in any conversation with the brothers. They kept asking questions about the dug in the backyard and the barking. The brothers started to get frustrated and decided it was time for the girls to leave. Something just wasn't right. But little did they know, the trap was already set. Jordan walked out back with the girls. Chad heard the screen door close before hearing commotion and hearing his brother say, "Chill out, bro." Then shots went off. Chad immediately ran outside and saw his brother laying on the patio, shot multiple times, before looking up to a shooter in his face, and more shots went off. Chad was hit 5 times, but still alert, and saw 2 men in the shed running. He then saw Clarissa head to the garage. Injured, he still pursued her, asking who was that? Who the F brought y'all over here? She upped the blick Antonio gave her and made threats in order to get away, then ran off to meet the other 3. Chad called police, who responded to the home and unfortunately pronounced Jordan gone on the scene. Even though hit 5 times, Chad was good and able to state to police exactly how the night went and to meet up with Clarissa in the shed, but he didn't know the 2 men. 2 different caliber shells were found on the crime scene, a .22 handgun and shotgun shells. The gang all went back to DeMarco's house when the girls noticed the 2 guns on the table. When they asked, "Why y'all shoot?" DeMarco stated calmly, "Bro tried to grab the gun, so he got shot." Antonio then sweet talked the scared Clarissa not to call the police. He told her, "You'll get blamed for it all and go to jail." But with phone records, the POF accounts, police had an open and shut investigation. They knew DeMarco and Antonio as known gang members of a fraction of Bloods in the area called the Lucianos. He also knew the way the gang got money was using young girls to set up men. It wasn't long before all 4 were tracked down and taken into custody, charged with first-degree murder, attempted hit, robbery, gang charges, and handguns. Before trial started, Clarissa struck a deal and cooperated with the state, telling everything that happened. When she got outside, she alleged she saw Antonio holding a gun. The she and DeMarco already running down the street, while Jordan laid there hit. When Chad ran out, she claimed Antonio then shot him and ran off, leaving her by herself to run to the garage. Her charges were eventually dropped to aggravated assault. It's not clear how much time she got, but the other 3 were found guilty on all counts. DeMarco was sentenced to life in prison plus 50 years. Antonio, the same. Nashed, at just 22 years old, life plus 40 years. And they didn't get anything from the brothers or out the home. Rest in peace to Jordan. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. I hope Chad can also cope with the loss of his brother and what he went through that night, being shot 5 times as well. Watch who you trust out here. I already know the brothers was just trying to get right and do what young men do and turn up, not knowing it was literally a backdoor situation. The 2 girls already was on that type time from jump, trying to be gang. They threw their whole life away. As far as DeMarco and Antonio, for some so-called leaders, they went on a dummy mission and crashed out for $0 and 0 cents. Jordan peeped the move, but by then, it was too late. Fellas, don't always trust a pretty face, nice body, or smile. Cruddy comes in all shapes, forms, and fashion. So remember, we gotta succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, rest in peace, Jordan. Crazy story. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Definitely be respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. This is another episode of the Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times.
What's up, fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, I'll be taking it to Florida to talk about a dusty love triangle, or what seemed more like a toxic polyamorous relationship involving a middle school math teacher, which led to an innocent man losing his life. But before we get into this video, welcome if you're new here to our channel, and welcome back to all of our subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so and join the Tony 2 times family. Go ahead and click that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload. And if you're rocking with the content, don't forget to hit that like button. Feel free to share this video. Make sure you watch until the end to hear the full story. All right, let's jump right into it. Imagine this. You're a young, successful woman with a career as a teacher in your hometown. You're married with 4 beautiful children, and you choose to throw it all away by stepping outside of your marriage to enter into a relationship with a man and his on-again, off-again girlfriend, which led you to being an accomplice in taking an innocent man's life. All because the other girlfriend was messing with someone else outside of the love triangle, turning it into a square. 30-year-old Martisha Williams Johnson was born and raised in Marion County, Florida. She graduated from North Marion High School. Martisha attended college at the University of South Florida and finished her bachelor's degree at Liberty University online. With her degree, Martisha landed a job as a teacher in 2012 for Marion County Schools, where she grew up. She had a budding career as an educator, teaching math to high schoolers, middle schoolers, and elementary. In 2021, she was a math teacher at Fourth King Middle School. From her interaction with students, it seems like Martisha was great at her job and well liked by her students. She seemed to be making a positive impact on their lives. While she may have gotten along with her students, some of her colleagues would say that Martisha was confrontational at times. But how others may have felt about her didn't seem to bother her one bit. Martisha was married and had 4 children. It's not clear how long she and her husband had been married. It's also not clear if the couple were having marital problems, but at some point, Martisha decided to step outside of her marriage and began a relationship with 36-year-old Douglas Heath. Doug was also seeing his on-again, off-again girlfriend, 32-year-old Jasmine Webb, while being in a relationship with Martisha. It appears that all 3 were involved with each other, or at least both women were aware that Doug was having relations with the both of them and didn't mind. During the trio's entanglement, Jasmine got involved with another guy named Derek for a short time. And apparently, Jasmine's relationship with Derek didn't sit well with the rest of the trio. All 4 of them lived in the same apartment complex, and tensions brewed between Derek and the trio, which led to heated arguments, including threats on social media, especially between Doug and Derek. In the social media beef, a desire for confrontation was also brought up. The feud eventually escalated into a plot to end Derek's life. On May 17, 2021, Derek had been in communication with Jasmine. One of the messages he got from her phone was a voice message that he believed to be from Doug, communicating in a threatening manner. The communication also included attempts to find Derek's location. According to Derek's recollection, a black Nissan Titan pickup truck driven by Jasmine arrived at the location where he was. It was an abandoned home in a rural area of Brooker, Florida. Doug was in the passenger seat of the truck, according to Derek. Without warning or any words being exchanged, multiple shots were fired from the truck. At 7:15 p.m., the sheriff's office received a report of a person being shot at the abandoned residence in Brooker. The victim, however, was not Derek, but instead an innocent bystander who was standing next to him, 44-year-old Tyrone Blocker of Lake Butler. Derek recollected that he heard Tyrone saying that he had been struck as a truck drove away just before walking a short distance and collapsing. Life-saving measures performed on Tyrone were unsuccessful, and he sadly succumbed to his injuries. Derek himself was not injured, although he was the intended target. Tyrone Blocker was a loving father of 4 and was in a long-term relationship with his girlfriend, the mother of his children. He was a respiratory therapist at UF Health for years and had a great life before it was taken from him. His family remembered him as a person you could talk to and have a good time around. He was a pleasure to be around. He was caring, outgoing, and loved helping others. With his cheerful spirit, he could put a smile on anyone's face, no matter what they were going through. His loss was a tremendous blow to his family and friends alike. 5 days after the terrible incident, deputies announced that they had made arrest. With that, his family said they would begin to heal together. On May 21, 2021, Martisha Williams Johnson, Doug Heath, and Jasmine Webb were charged in connection to the shooting. All were charged with a hit charge, and Martisha and Doug were charged with first-degree hit. Social media, surveillance footage, license plate software, and witness testimony were able to help investigators find out what happened that day. Doug's black Nissan truck and Martisha's gray Kia SUV were both seen leaving the scene of the crime and was located in the vicinity before the incident took place. When Martisha's car was searched, they found a magazine containing ammunition. While Martisha acknowledged her relationship with Doug and Jasmine, she denied any involvement in the shooting. Law enforcement described her as being smug during her booking process, even smiling in her mugshot. Doug claimed to be asleep when the incident occurred and denied any involvement. He later claimed his truck was missing and didn't know where his cell phone was during the incident. Jasmine basically spilled the beans on the whole plot and said Doug was in control of the truck during the incident and that Martisha was driving the Kia SUV, and claimed she was dropped off at a gas station prior to the incident and then picked up 20 minutes later, but surveillance showed otherwise. In November 2022, Martisha and Doug were convicted of slaying Tyrone Blocker and the attempted slaying of Derek. Martisha was also found guilty of accessory after the fact. Jasmine Webb took a no-contest plea deal and received 12 years for manslaughter, with credit for the 599 days she had already served at that time. Martisha and Doug were sentenced to life in prison. The state of Florida does not have parole, so they will truly serve a life sentence. May Tyrone Blocker continue to rest in peace. My deepest condolences to his family and loved ones. It's so heartbreaking that he lost his life over something he had nothing to do with. I hope that they are doing well and have been healing with God's grace. Tyrone was an innocent bystander who really didn't deserve to be caught up in the crossfire. This story is absolutely crazy. First of all, how did a married woman get caught up in a love triangle that led to such a tragedy? Martisha lost everything over a toxic love affair. She didn't care about anyone but herself and her own selfish desires. She left her kids behind, all for what? Most people would have looked at her and thought she had it all together, but you can clearly look at her and see that something about her is a little off. The choices she made goes beyond my comprehension. Doug must have had the ultimate control over these women, I guess. Then Jasmine, the one messing with the other guy they plotted to take out, only gets off with 12 years. This whole situation is a mess. 30-plus-year-olds acting out like they don't have any type of common sense. An innocent life lost all over social media drama involving a messy love triangle, or more like a toxic throuple. Like, listen to how crazy this all sounds. Fam, tell me what you think about this in the comments below. All right, y'all, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm out.
What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 Times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. Social media has entertained most of us for years now. People are able to connect with loved ones and friends they might have lost contact with, watch whatever they are into from creators, or see whatever going on with a celebrity they might like. Some even figured out ways to make money on certain platforms. That's on the positive side of things. It's also another side of social media. People lurking, robbers seeing somebody flexing or showing too much, pinpointing locations, dudes in the streets beefing for whatever reason, taking it to the internet, going live with each other, making threats, escalating the beef, even sharing locations. People comparing their regular, everyday lives to people's highlights, trying to compare and keep up with people you don't know or probably will never meet, leaving some depressed and always unhappy, not confident in their true self. Then you had a younger generation. Cyberbullying each other is what they call it. That's when a young man or woman might not like a person. They leave negative comments under their individual pictures. Some might even take the pictures, alter them, and share them in groups, make up lies, all that to antagonize the other person they don't like. It's high school times 10, because back in the day, kids got bullied and people got talked about all the time. But once school let out, that was it. It was over. But now with technology, it's 24 hours a day, causing kids and adults looking for validation from others or in a position to constantly have to deal with hate. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to Houston, Texas to discuss a case of a 16-year-old girl social media feud with family that turned fatal. Back in 2020, Maray was a typical teen. At 16 years old, into fashion, music, loved dancing, taking pictures, and definitely posting on social media. She was a sophomore at Elsik High School and dreamed of going to college. The youngest of 6 kids, she was the baby girl who everyone wanted to protect. One day while on social media, Maraja noticed some negative comments under her photos, saying some things she knew wasn't true, and the person spreading the rumors was her own cousin and another young lady. She tried to brush it off and continue about her normal routine, but it would get out of hand when the young lady saw her picture on other people's pages saying she was doing pay to play for money. This made her so mad, she busted into tears and couldn't believe her own peoples would say she was selling her body. She went to her older sister, who we will call Tasha, and her mother to let them know she felt the cousin was jealous of her and wanted the beef. Her mother played mediator and stated the two young ladies should squash it, maybe even meet up and talk about it since they were family. On October 26, 2020, Maray, her 20-year-old sister Tasha, and a 22-year-old family friend named Anthony were all at the family home when a cousin, who we will call Tiffany, called and stated she wanted to meet up to discuss the online beef. They agreed to meet up that evening by a church on Sharpview Drive. As Maray and her peoples walked towards the church, Tiffany was in the car with two of her female friends and one of their boyfriends driving, a 24-year-old man. When the car pulled up, Maray was standing on the sidewalk as the woman with Tiffany got out the car. They started discussing the social media beef, and Tasha asked why they was harassing her little sister. But somewhere in the mix, the conversation went left and a fight broke out. Maray just standing to the side before the 24-year-old driver got out the car, upped the gun, and let off 15 shots. Tiffany and the other girls ran as the man sped off. It was about 2:30 p.m., so residents in the neighborhood who heard the commotion called Houston PD, who responded to the location to find 3 people shot: Tasha, Anthony, and Maray. Tasha and Anthony were both rushed to a local hospital and were in stable condition. But at only 16 years old, unfortunately, Maray passed away from her injuries at the scene. Once family and friends got the news, they were devastated, saying she was just a baby and wasn't even the one fighting. She was just standing there and only came to clear her name. At first, nobody knew who the driver was that brought Tiffany and the other girls. They only knew they came in a red Chrysler 200 that people in that neighborhood saw flee the scene. People couldn't believe a man let off 15 shots over a social media family feud. As people placed RIP signs and candles at the site the vibrant teen lost her life at, family pleaded for justice, and police urged anybody with information to come forward. Family told the news this all started over lies. A jealous cousin who envied Maray because of looks and how popular she was, and the young lady didn't want dirt on her name. 2 weeks after the incident, a name of a suspect came up: 24-year-old Kenny Garrett. He was the boyfriend of one of the young women in the car and the driver. He would eventually be picked up and charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and murder. He was taken into custody and at arraignment given a $280,000 bail. Family stated they felt someone ripped their hearts out, and they couldn't believe a family member would let someone bring a gun to talk about a petty beef. As of now, this case hasn't made its way to trial, and Kenny is innocent until proven otherwise. This was an emotional decision, in my opinion, by a grown man who really should have knew better. You allegedly take the life of a 16-year-old girl, shoot her sister and another man. Even if he was just trying to hit Anthony. It's women talking, even if they did start fighting. Why would your mind go straight to, I'm about to let off 15 shots? This kind of situation is the downside to social media. People get triggered when people talk about them in a negative way. It's a lot of family members that don't like each other, but now they can follow each other, make comments, even threats. When it used to be, I don't rock with you, you don't rock with me, stay over there. Rest in peace to Maray. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to her family. She did nothing wrong. At 16 years old, she was a child, and at that age, you care about what people think about you. Watch how y'all carry it with people out here. Don't start an unnecessary beef or situation, being petty. I'm sure the cousin didn't think it would go this far, but you never know, especially when you involve other people. So remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, crazy story. Rest in peace, that young lady. I send my prayers to her family. I ain't gonna talk y'all head off about this one. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Definitely be respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's all love, fam. This is another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. What's going on YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. Relationships can be full of ups and downs, good times and bad times, depending on the two individuals that's involved. Usually when you first meet somebody, they will always be on their best behavior and show you their good side, presenting themselves in a way you might feel like that's all I ever asked for, and then you fall in love. Years go by, y'all might even make that big step and jump the broom. Now as individuals, things change and people change. You might start noticing things about your life partner you're not feeling anymore. It could be something simple, like they procrastinate too much or cut the TV up too loud at night. Things that used to seem petty starts to really irk you because now you are with that person day after day. Some people understand the concept of marriage and will ride that out, and the small things won't matter. They get it's for better or for worse. But you have people that get tired, feel like the spark is gone, or the person they fell in love with has changed too much and they want to move on. A divorce can be hard, especially if one person is more done with the situation than the other. And if y'all hung in the same circle, share the same friends that know what's going on, that can be super messy. On this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Covington, Georgia to discuss a case of a man that snapped when he thought his homies were smashing his wife. Back in 2016, Deontay Hall was a 36-year-old married man. His wife, who we will call Morgan, and Deontay's relationship had become shaky over time and even volatile, to the point he would often get put out and not even be at the home they once shared together. As things seemed to get worse, Morgan decided it would be best they separated for a while, especially when Deontay became convinced she had been cheating on him during their marriage, including with people they knew. He would often come up to the house to confront her about being unfaithful, and things would get worse after he would use certain substances and become heavily under the influence. It became a pattern that Morgan had become used to. But on July 6, 2016, when Deontay stopped by the house, he seemed a little different than he usually did. He was acting strange, seemed disheveled and quiet. He once again accused Morgan of cheating with two brothers they both were cool with, 29-year-old Tony Butler and his brother LaVar. They had all been tight for years and practically grew up together. Deontay stated to Morgan in a quiet voice, "Since you playing with me and being unfaithful, go ahead and buy a black dress because there's about to be a lot of funerals." She brushed it off. Later that day, the two brothers, LaVar and Tony, along with another friend, stopped by to pick up Deontay, unaware of the fact he thought they was both smashing Morgan. The third man, Jeff, was sitting in the back seat of the truck with Deontay. LaVar was driving as Tony rolled shotgun. They noticed Deontay seemed different, kind of standoffish, as they rode, smoking, stopping at a few stores, and talking. Deontay seemed out of it, as he told the men he had been up for 3 days straight, popping pills and snorting lines. He was geeking and seeing blood. LaVar took that as a need to take Deontay back home to get himself together. But not too far from the house, a ringing sound went off from the back seat and Tony fell over. LaVar hit a curve after he realized the sound was a gunshot. Jeff jumped out in a panic and ran. As LaVar realized Deontay had a high .9 pointing at him and had shot his brother Tony through the back seat of the truck. LaVar jumped out as he noticed Deontay pointing the gun at him, pulling the trigger, but it kept jamming. He then started chasing him around the car, aiming and trying to get the blick back working, before smacking LaVar with it while yelling out, "Y'all two smashing my wife," saying all I see is red right now. Realizing the gun wasn't working and wasn't going to shoot and police probably was coming, Deontay quickly ran through the neighborhood. LaVar quickly turned his attention to his brother Tony, who had been bleeding heavily, suffering from a bullet to the chest. He tried to drive him to a nearby hospital, but ran into traffic, in which he stopped the truck, yelled for help, while performing CPR on his brother and trying to stop the bleeding. Ambulance would finally arrive and rush Tony and Lavar to the hospital as he had deep gashes from being hit with the blick. Back in the neighborhood, Deontay could be seen running around and demanding rides from people and neighbors. After being turned down, he ran into the woods. A neighbor called police, who arrived to the location, but Deontay was gone. At the shooting scene, they found spent 9mm casings, a green bag with a bullet hole through it, and other evidence. Back at the hospital, Lavar was okay, but unfortunately, Tony would not survive his injuries. Later that night, Deontay called his sister and told her he had to handle a situation with dudes messing with his wife. About 3 weeks would go by when Deontay was tracked down and arrested in Rockdale County, Georgia. During the interview with police, he stated, "Man, I don't know what happened, but the brothers did have beef with some country boys from out of town. I think that was them who pulled up shooting." But the evidence pointed to the shots coming from inside the car. Deontay was eventually charged with first-degree hit, attempted hit, assault, and possession of a firearm while in commission of a felony, and while being a convicted felon. While waiting to go to trial, Jeff, the third passenger in the truck that day of the shooting, would be arrested on his own unrelated case. While talking to Deontay, he allegedly told him, "I'ma just tell him they finessed the country boys and they came back for some get back," in which Jeff later gave that information to police. As the case made its way to trial, Lavar testified about him and Deontay growing up together and how he did that to his brother Tony. He also stated he was trying hard to kill me as well, but the gun kept jamming. Morgan also took the stand. When asked was she having an affair with Tony or Lavar, she stated no, that Deontay had become insecure and paranoid. She also told about the black dress statement that he made. Eventually, at 38 years old, Deontay was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to life in prison plus an additional 10 years. Rest in peace to Tony. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family. I know a lot of men and women keep their significant others away from their friends so signals won't get crossed or someone starts to feel jealous. But it seems like Deontay was insecure and didn't want the relationship to end. If you that worried about your partner cheating on you, you should definitely leave the situation or not agree to bring your friends to the house. As men, we gotta control our emotions, even in the most uncomfortable and hurtful situations. If Morgan was smashing the brothers, Deontay should have just left, as the marriage had already seemed done. I know it's a respect and loyalty type thing, but it's better being free and feeling crossed than to be sitting in a cell with life plus 10 years feeling the same way. If the investigation was right, neither one of the brothers ever touched Morgan. It seemed like Deontay was just geeking and paranoid. So remember, we gotta succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, crazy story. Rest in peace to Tony, man. This is a crazy story. I know sometimes as men, our feelings get hurt too. But you gotta understand, as a man, it's always your job to keep it clear, keep them emotions intact, and keep it moving. You might have felt crossed in a situation if she was doing that. But at that point, you understand what's going on. You keep it moving. You cut everybody off, and you still out here free. It's a million other women out here. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Definitely be respectful. This is another episode of Hood Tales. I appreciate you if you made it to the end, fam. Y'all already know it's all love. This your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.